concert series called Signal since 2017 to celebrate artist-driven new musical theatre. That's new musical theatre that is driven by writers rather than producers and can be about whatever writers want it to be about. In so doing, to try and build a bonfire, I suppose, is what I would say, to celebrate new musicals being written right now rather than the ones that have been on for 10, 20, 30 years that you might have already heard of. No problems with those musicals, but like, we're planting seeds for the future. And so we started that in 2017. Then March happened, and it was really, really tough for so many people in the arts community and so many freelancers. One thing that we were able to do was give space and time to writers and give platforms to writers. And so we crazily made a digital system that could stream live performances across the world. And we did a concert broadly every 2 weeks and did 9 Signal Online concerts and a collaboration with MT Pride and celebrated 125 artists over that 6-month period. At the end of that concert, of our final Signal Online, I thought it would be ages till we got back in person. I really didn't think we had a hope of doing it in 2020. And then came an incredible email from Deborah Vogt at JW3 and said, we're beginning to think, big up to Deborah, give her an amazing round of applause. And said, we're thinking about going into the hybrid game, somewhat in person, somewhat on the internet. I said, I think we would know how to do that. I, of course, very, very close to my Judaism culturally and know a huge network of Jewish writers both across the country and across the world, and thought it would be an amazing opportunity to showcase writers with Jewish heritage in JW3. So we wouldn't be here tonight if it weren't for the incredible generosity, kindness, technical prowess, and just daring do of JW3. And here to just give you a bit of a welcome and an introduction about JW3 is its theatre producer, Rachel.
There we go, perfect. Thank you, Adam. So welcome to JW3, the UK's first and only Jewish community centre of its kind where everybody is welcome. We're also an ambitious arts venue and producer, but I don't need to say the words arts centre when I describe JW3, because for us, the arts is at the very heart of building and sustaining community. When we reopened 2 weeks ago, the first people in the building were artists, including, I'm delighted to say, Guy Wolf, who's performing tonight. Woo! Guy, I've just moved your mic, so you might want to check it when you come back to it later. So the artists were the first people back in the building, working on new theatre we've commissioned to reflect on emerging from isolation. And that's exactly as it should be. As Adam said, my name's Rachel Grunwald, and I'm the Director of Programming here at JW3. I'm also a theatre director, and I've had the privilege of directing new musical work with and by one of the absurdly talented artists here tonight, Joseph Finley. 6 months ago, as everybody else did, JW3 closed its physical doors and opened up a whole new chapter as a virtual community centre, serving the community with education, inspiration and comfort powered by Jewish values, whilst reopening our actual doors for volunteers to run a food bank and cook for people in need in the local and Jewish communities. And now here we are, at the start of a Jewish New Year and at the start of another new adventure, learning how to use technology to connect and unite people on a global scale. For our first hybrid, in-person and online event, we didn't start small, no. We fulfilled an ambition of our team to work with Adam, a powerhouse of new musical theatre, a pioneer of live performance technology, and somebody who is out and proud about his Jewish identity. Many people know about the immense Jewish contribution to the history of musical theatre, and if you don't, please check out our website, because the theatre producer and member of the JW3 family, Neil Marcus, who's also in the room tonight, will be teaching a course on it. So lots of people know about the history, but tonight we get a glimpse of the contributions of the future. And I can tell you they're extraordinary. So from this room where it happens, to the artists' rooms around the world where it happens, to the hundreds and maybe eventually thousands of rooms where this will happen in future, welcome. Enjoy, and thank you to Adam and to everybody who's made this possible.
This is pretty cool, isn't it? Normally, I'm at home, sitting at my computer, pressing the buttons myself, sitting in a chair. Yeah, this is better. All right. It gives me great pleasure to introduce you to our first writing team of the night. They live, well, one of them lives in Bradford upon Avon, so couldn't make it to London. So he's coming in by live stream to introduce his song. And he will introduce his performer, but this is a show that has been in development for maybe the past year. Its first songs were premiered at Signal back in 2018, 2019. There's a whole trail of them across our YouTube channel for those of you who want to see them. And this is a musical about Cable Street, but a contemporary retelling of a time when people of our country got together to stand up to fascism, which unfortunately we need to think about again now. It gives me great pleasure to take you to Tim Gilvin to tell you all about it.
Hello, yes, I'm Tim Gilvin, and I'm very excited to be sharing a song from a new musical that I'm writing with the amazingly talented Alex Konevsky called Cable Street, a Musical Riot. The show is based around the events of the Battle of Cable Street, which took place in East London in 1936, when the British Union of Fascists attempted to march through the Jewish East End, and people from different diverse communities in that area came together to blockade the streets, fight back the police, and make sure that the fascists couldn't pass through. So in this song, the father of a Jewish teenager is advocating for his son not to go and join the march. And we are very, very lucky tonight to have the incredible Jonathan Andrew Hume singing this song. He's just amazing in Come From Away in the West End. Hopefully we all get to go and see him in that before too long. Big thanks to Adam and to JW3 for having us. It's an absolute privilege to be able to share this with you tonight, and we hope you enjoy. Cheers.
Easy, easy, you'll regret it come tomorrow. Leave it, son, leave it be. Just forget it, let it go. I don't want you in a jail cell. We need you here where you can lend a hand. Even have a pot to sell. Well, let's make some money before we make a stand. They're only words and pebbles on our windows, words and painted letters on our doors. The world will turn from autumn into winter, and this too shall pass away. Patience, patience is your generation. They want us to be divided, but we stand shoulder to shoulder to shoulder. They're deluded, they're misguided. Your mother needs a winter coat. The landlord called to say he'd raise the rent. We need you here, we need you close. You can't help us out if your days are spent. Remember that they're only words and pebbles through our windows, words and painted letters through our door. The world will turn from autumn into winter, and this too shall pass away. We don't want trouble, but they call us trouble. They want us to be trouble, so don't you be trouble. Easy, son, easy, easy. Don't give them what they want. They're only lies. Don't buy the things they're selling. Words to the wise. Don't believe the lies they're telling. And truth will always be a winner. Give it time, give it time, give it time. They're only words. We can take the pebbles through our windows. Words. We can take the letters through our doors. But son, we need you here beside us. 'Cause this too shall pass. This too shall pass, and this too shall pass away. Thank you.
What a beautiful song. There's normally this thing on the online concerts where it cuts back to me and I just have to applaud on my own. So again, really lovely to be here. And yeah, this too will pass. Good words for now. So for those of you on the live stream, audience watching wherever you are, we are here, as I said, at JW3 in London. And we are joined by these two fabulous on-stage musicians. On guitar, Curtis Volp. And on the keys and MDing, Sarah Burrell. But what we're doing is we're alternating performances here with live streamed performances, which also happen at the moment you're watching. Well, you know, give or take 20 seconds. Live. And so it gives me great pleasure to take you to our first writer, who is over in New York, 5 hours behind us, middle of the afternoon. And again, it gives me great pleasure to bring this writer into this concert because he is the first writer whose work I directed professionally. So the first show I directed, which was longer ago than I care to even think about, must have been about 12 years ago, was a show by him. It made me realize how much I love writers, how much I love things that are new, things that I'd never seen before or heard before, and how much I wanted the opportunity to bring those to audiences who'd never heard or seen them before either. But some of you might well know this song, and it's a really, really special song. And taking you now live to New York to tell you all about it is the amazing Adam Guan.
Hey everyone, I think I'm live. I'm gonna assume that I'm speaking to you now, unless I hear otherwise. Hello from my living room in New York. It is such a thrill to be a part of this event and just unspeakably moving to be sort of in a room with you people in London right now. It's hearing you applaud and seeing your little silhouettes in the audience is just, it's incredible. I'm gonna be sharing a song from my musical Ordinary Days. The original inspiration for this song was the view from my bedroom window in one of my very first apartments in New York. I lived in the back of a building, a very not fancy tenement-style walk-up building in the East Village. and the back of this building faced up against the back of the buildings on the next street over. And that street was a very fancy block on a park lined with amazing brownstones. And so from my 5th floor walk-up bedroom window, I could look down into these incredible backyards of these brownstones, just impeccably designed, landscaped up the wazoo, just gorgeous. And as I think you will hear in the song, that feeling of looking out at these beautiful backyards came rushing back to me once the pandemic hit and we started living our lives on Zoom. So I thought this would be a particularly appropriate song to sing at this moment, and one that's been resonating with me these past several months. So here it is. It's called Favorite Places. And I want to dedicate this to all of the people sitting there in that theater in London, which is one of my favorite places, and I'm so glad that we found some sort of strange way to be in that place together tonight. So enjoy. On this block, there's a garden tucked away behind this carriage house. I can see it from the window, stretching toward the sidewalk. And though I look there every day, I've never found the entrance to this perfect little place I'd like to go. But still, it's one of my favorite places, one of my most favorite places, a patch of green I've only seen from much too far away. When I was 5 or 6, I started drawing crayon-colored pictures of a magic land that floated high above the treetops. And every night I'd fall asleep and dream that I could fly there, that I'd built this floating kingdom in the sky. And still, I try, 'cause it is one of my favorite places, one of my most favorite places. But here's the twist, it can't exist. So why do I keep thinking that it does? All my life, I've imagined all these places, sketching each and every blueprint in my mind. And all I want is someone who can help me reach these places that I dream about, but never seem to find, because all of my favorite places, all of my most favorite places, are places that I've never been. I wake up to that woman sleeping well into the morning. I like watching how the sunlight trickles down her shoulder. And though I've tried so many times to tell her that I love her, I haven't found a way inside her heart. And it is one of my favorite places, one of my most favorite places. One more favorite place I've never been. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Adam. So, like, I'm sorry if I just keep saying this is weird, but, like, I literally spent 6 months streaming these concerts from my bedroom. Like, so the fact that we're all here and the fact that we're still using half of that technology and half real-world technology, it feels like, as terrible as this time has been, like, that we've at least learned something weird about how to make musicals global and in person and streamed and everything else. Everyone in the room, take pictures, because I'm not taking any and I'm not in the room, and I will want them later. So thank you. Thanks for doing that. All right, on to our next in-person, in our next person writing team. They are Signal stalwarts, and in addition, they won a prize for one of their songs from this show in lockdown from... I'm blanking on the theatre. Yes, anyway, they'll talk about it. They should, because they won an award for a song from this show, which is nice, again, that people are supporting the writing of new songs in lockdown. And I'm so excited the way this show's been developing, and absolutely thrilled that they are going to be performing the world premiere of a new song from their incredible show. And here to tell you about it is the incredible Isla von Tricht.
I will take this off. Hello, so I'm Isla van Tricht, and I'm one half of the writing duo who wrote this musical. The other half is Guy Wolf back there, being a coward, not coming up here with me, because he's performing later. So the musical that we are writing together at the moment is concisely titled Valerie, the correct account of writer, activist, and genius Valerie Solanas, who famously wrote the Scum Manifesto and shot Andy Warhol, as told by herself and her friends. But we just call it Valerie most of the time. But that's the full title. And it's about the amazing, complex woman, Valerie Solanas, who, if you're not familiar with, go on a kind of Google Wikipedia hole after this. She's really, really fascinating. Essentially, she's infamous as the woman who shot Andy Warhol. But I became fascinated with her because she's an incredible writer. She had an amazing, really kind of wild life in the 60s in New York. She was like an out lesbian in the 50s and had really interesting kind of forward-thinking ideas about gender and all this kind of stuff. She's really, really fascinating. But sadly, because she really struggled with paranoid schizophrenia and she didn't get proper mental health help when she was alive, she's kind of sidelined in history as basically kind of a mad, angry feminist who shot Andy Warhol. So the idea of this musical is to kind of reclaim that idea of her and for her to tell her story from her point of view. The song that we're sharing tonight, which is brand new, is called What Would Happen If I Shot Somebody? And it's actually, that line is something that she's recorded as saying in the lead up to before she shot Andy Warhol. She had a conversation with a friend of hers, weighing up whether or not she should do it. Spoiler, she does it. So this song is basically her, with her friend Jeremiah, who she called her baby brother, deciding and weighing up what would happen if she shot somebody. And performing it, we've got the amazing Eleanor Jackson, who's playing Valerie, and we've got the brilliant Ben Hastings, who's going to be playing Jeremiah. So I'll hand over to them now.
Question. It is a weird one.
Okay.
It's theoretical, hypothetical, then heretical. But please, I need your help. Be of use, not abstruse, to deduce what to do.
Shoot, Val, shoot.
What would happen if I shot somebody? Let's play a game, you and I. Let's imagine if I shot somebody. I'll play the gunman, you the guy.
What would happen if you shot somebody?
Yes, let's play a game, you and I. Let's imagine if I shot somebody.
I'll play the gunman.
You'll play the guy.
Yeah, I love a good game, pal. What a good plot. Let's see how it ends. Just between friends. So who is the guy getting shot?
What would happen if I shot somebody?
Well,
What do you think
I
would
guess
occur?
it depends. Just between friends on what kind of villain they were.
He's the man.
I suspected.
He deserves
That
it.
objective.
He's oppressive and he's possessive and he's stealing all my work
Is he rotten?
to the core.
Got it coming.
Yeah, for sure.
Then shoot the bastard. I concur, 'cause he sounds like a jerk.
What
Well,
would happen
that's
if I
very-
shot somebody?
Then I
Let's
guess
say I shot
it
this
seems
guy.
pretty clearly
Let's
just
imagine if I
between
shot
friends.
somebody.
If you shoot, does that mean that they die?
They are spying.
Who is they?
Always lying.
What are you saying?
They're watching me and they follow me. There's a tracker in my brain.
You sound mad.
It's a fact.
This is bad.
I've got to act.
Valerie, you're scaring me. You just sound insane.
What would happen if I shot somebody, spill out his guts on the ground? Let's imagine if I shot somebody, I'd be a hero.
You'd be a clown.
No, I'd be a hero, talk of the town.
Wait,
Would happen
I
if
don't wanna
I
play
shot
now.
somebody,
This ain't a
spill
game.
out his
Quit
guts on the
it, Val,
ground.
come on.
Let's imagine
This
if
is
I shot
fun.
somebody,
You
I'd
can't
be a
be
hero,
serious.
talk of the town.
Why would you do this to? Where would you even get at?
What would happen if I shot somebody, spill out his guts on the ground? Just imagine if I shot somebody, I'd be a hero, talk of the town. Here's what happens if I shot
What would happen
somebody.
if you shot
Crowds will be
somebody?
calling my
You'd
name.
go to prison
Oh,
or
that
worse.
could happen if I shot
I can't
somebody.
imagine if you
Freedom
shot
and
somebody
justice,
locked up
fortune and
forever
fame.
or dead in a hearse.
Freedom and justice, fortune and fame.
No, locked up forever or dead in a hearse.
No freedom and justice, fortune and fame.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So our next writer, I met him in London, or next composer, I should say. I met him in London. He then moved to New York, but just before lockdown hit, he moved back to his home in Israel, where he's been all the way through lockdown and has performed at a few single online concerts from there. He recently just came back to London. He's in Crystal Palace right now, but is isolating. So from London, we're about to see live, we're going to hear from the composer of this next song, and then it's going to be performed live in-house by its lyricist. So introducing you now to the incredible Amir Schoenfeld and Caitlin Burt.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amir Schoenfeld, fresh off the plane from Tel Aviv and safely quarantining in Crystal Palace. My co-writer, Caitlin Burt, and I are presenting a song from our show, Sheila the Tiny Turtle. The show is a mini musical for young audiences, telling the story of Sheila, a tiny little turtle living with her family in a creek in the Australian desert. Sheila goes on a life-threatening journey through the desert to find the magical seeds that would cure her ailing mother. The New York City IndieWorks Theatre Company are currently producing this show as a podcast audio drama for their upcoming series, Bite-Sized Broadway. The first season premieres on the 5th of October and will feature 10 fully produced mini musicals performed by top Broadway, Hollywood, television performers, and Sheila the Tiny Turtle will premiere on March 1st, 2021. So
keep an eye out for the Bite Size Broadway podcast. Caitlin will now sing the song When Offspring Just Spring Off. She'll be singing as the character Kylie, a no-nonsense kangaroo mother who is shocked to learn how far from home Sheila has ventured. So take it away, Caitlin.
Oh, what a horror to learn your kid is in the wild. Go, return. You're a child. Whether she's crazy or just a bit lazy, a mother tries any kind of mother. The platypus's parents are preoccupied with bills. A crocodile's mother always snaps. The lizard makes her hatchlings go and dress their necks in frills. Koala kids are forced to bear their naps. Though you might think she's a pain or that her methods are insane, a mother's gonna freak when offspring just spring off. A mother's gonna freak when offspring just spring off. My kid's wise to know that I'll pounce if he tries to roam. At his size, he's too small to bounce. Though not the bush, he has a cushy home. A kookaburra's mother likes to laugh and muck around. A shark knows when her pups get out of line. An emu gives her chicks ideas that won't get off the ground. Echidnas want their kids to grow a spine. If arthropod or mammal, whether scorpion or camel, a kid can't up and leave the feeding trough. Every mother is the same and she will take on all the blame. She'll go hopping mad because she had her offspring just spring off.
So the next writer is joining us from, well, most of our writers are on the East Coast, 5 hours behind, but he is joining us from 4 hours behind, if that helps anyone figure out where he's streaming in from. I'll tell you in a second, but basically I was lucky enough to catch his incredible show, musical piece of gig theatre that is incredibly, based on incredibly resonant Jewish themes. I saw it at the Edinburgh Festival, and it absolutely blew me away to see something that was so, just took on sort of an omnivorous form that kind of like took in so many different types of stage craft and so many different types of music theatre and mashed them all together. He performed in the show, and indeed he has visited London a fair few times and performed in this very room before, but for now, we will stream him live and take you now to Nova Scotia and the incredible Ben Kaplan.
Hello. Hello, everybody. This is wonderful. What a thrill to be in front of an audience, sort of, in my house in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. So this is lovely. I want to say thanks to Adam for putting this all together. What a lovely treat to hear all of these new compositions and performers, et cetera, et cetera. This here is a song from a show that I co-created with writers Christian Berry and Hannah Moskovich. It's a show called Old Stock, a refugee love story. And you know, the story sort of tells, it's about these two Jewish Romanian refugees who come to Canada in 1908. And so as part of that story, you know, we decided to take the opportunity to throw in a little bit of Yiddishkeit, a little bit of Jewish humor and some Jewish ideas. And this song is sort of my, you know, critique of a literalist reading of the Bible. Because everybody knows that the Bible is full of wisdom. The good book is great, but But a few thousand years of theological disputes and debates have shown that the text was written in such a way that it inherently requires intensive, rigorous, and constant interpretation. Did you know that when the Bible was given, it was delivered along with an oral tradition, which at the time was expressly forbidden to be written down? Now the reason why I submit must be is that this was to prevent undue rigidity. You see, the Bible is a living work that needs to breathe in order to stay alive. Now I hope my approach won't be seen as ham-fisted, and we all know that words get distorted and twisted, but it is my contention that some of the best bits were not written down. Always have a little bit of salt with your tequila. Don't smoke your stash if you're gonna be a dealer. Try to drink at least 8 cups of water every day. Always keep your stick on the ice. If you wanna cut once, you better measure twice. There's no such thing as a lunch that's really free. An eye for an eye means fair compensation. It doesn't mean take up arms with another nation. Anything written down can be twisted apart. Don't be ashamed to talk about your mental health. Try to love your neighbor like you love yourself. That one's in there, but it always gets forgotten. Truth doesn't live in a book. You find it in the little surprises. The good book is only a lens to focus the view. Justice for all is composed of the ugliest compromises. You can't only look at the lens, you gotta look through. There's no such thing as a virgin conception. Every good rule has a notable exception. Don't surround yourself with friends who only agree. Don't count your eggs before they're chicken. Ask for consent before you put your dick in. Ain't nothing wrong with homosexuality. Don't get caught with your pants around your ankle. If you want to hide your money, stick it in a Swiss bangle. Every banking system needs a lot of regulation. Never draw a picture of the Prophet Muhammad unless you're a cartoonist and you really, really want to illustrate cultural insensitivity. Truth doesn't live in a book. You find it in the little surprises. The good book is only a lens to focus the view. Justice for all is composed of the ugliest compromises. You can't only look at the lens, you gotta look through. You have to live in the world to get to the truth. There you go. Hard not having your accompanist with you, eh? Take care, everybody.
It is a strange time, as you will all know, and to even be in a room feels very bizarre and strange. But I think what I would say is one of the things that has been gained in this time is a sense of the impossible. Like, who could do, like, who could, there could never have been a lineup like this, except ever, like ever. You wouldn't, Adam Guan and Ben Kaplan on a lineup together with Tim Gilvin, it wouldn't happen. So like, I, as a kind of musical theater fan of this incredible, rich, diverse, incredibly malleable art form, there is something special about what's happening, because I think the bridges that are being built between writers in this country and writers all over the world is giving everyone a little bit of confidence in what this form can be at this time. And when I'm lonely or confused or finding it difficult to process what's going on, music is always where I have turned, and stories is where I have always turned. And yet, in the UK, when people hear the words musical theatre, they make assumptions about what it can sound like, what it must look like, what it would feel like. And part of our project for the last 3, 5, whatever years has been to try and change people's minds about what musicals can be. Musicals can be anything. They can be infinite as music. They can be as infinite as stories. And it just gives me so much pride and excitement to be able to bring together lineups. Just as a fan, just as someone who gets to sit in this room and hear these people, both in person and on the internet, hear these songs, is this hugely special thing. And I will say this, writers who've met each other virtually over the internet only are forging friendships, are forging collaborations, and new things are happening. Yeah, you can clap if you want. Someone is just about, did they clap? Like, new things are happening that wouldn't happen before. And I don't know about you, sometimes I can allow myself to live in a parallel universe where none of this was happening and everything can seem better in that parallel universe. But what I will say is there are things that exist in this universe that are positive and that wouldn't be happening if it weren't. And I'm just so grateful to writers, so grateful for the things they write, so grateful for writers all over the world for giving their time and expertise and talents to us so that we can hear them, because I'm not a writer, but man, do I love writers. So thank you so much to them. All right, we did a set. We did a set. Well, we nearly did a set because we've got one song left of this set. Then we're going to take a 15-minute break. This is just the time that I make those online feel a little jealous about the fact that there is a drink service, but there's no bar. You don't even have to go anywhere. You just stay in your seats. Someone will come to you. It's like being in first class in a plane, except with adequate social distancing. So yeah, enjoy that. Don't go anywhere, I guess, unless you need the toilet. Those on the stream will take about a 15-minute break, which means we'll probably be back about 5 to 10 past 9, but there'll be a countdown. You'll see us. Please stick with us. Those of you who are watching online, tweet, Instagram, tell your friends. There's a whole set of live songs that you can watch this very evening, but any posts that you do will also help people come across this concert in the coming days, because it will remain online forever in its once live and in perfect glory, and that's just how we like it. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce our final writer of this set, an incredible virtuoso, and I'm so excited that we're actually going to be in a room while he plays as the piano and someone sings his song. Here is the incredible Theo Jamieson.
I can't say very much about this project. It's not a musical of The Tempest, but involves writing a song for a character from The Tempest. So, what do you need to know? So Miranda lives on an island with Prospero, her magician father, and that's actually it. She sings this song, and it's going to be sung by the amazing Evie Rose Lane.
I was staring out at the water, his only daughter, his only daughter. I was dreaming that I was different, like a magician, someone with power. For half an hour, for half a year, all I could hear when I would listen was, ooh, I understand the voices singing in the wind, voices in the waves, voices in the gray skies that are singing to me. Ooh, Miranda.
audit the weather made by my father. Oh, these gravel shores beneath my feet, this pale surf sweeps into me and draws away his days complete. Oh, these gravel shores are churning seas, the sky's extending endlessly. This view is not enough for me. I was staring down at the water. His lonely daughter, his lonely daughter. I was screaming over the weather, screaming together, singing together. I was staring out at the water, his only daughter, his only daughter.
Thank you so much for watching set 1. We'll be back in about 15 with set 2. Just to say, if you would like to donate in lieu of ticket price, those of you who are watching online, you can do so at alpmusicals.com/donate. All proceeds will be going to the artists who have incredibly come to JW3 to be here with us all. So please, if you're watching at home and you would be buying a ticket for this, if we had put a paywall in place, please would you donate, and we would appreciate it and you so much. Get a drink, post on social media. We'll see you back here in 15 minutes. Thank you so much. starting live now. Here we go. It's a real audience. Thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you, real audience. Holy cow, that is cool. I was just talking to the audience prior to going on air, and I just was saying, like, I know a lot of people have been complaining about the fact that we need to end social distancing in theaters because there's no social distancing on planes. And actually, I just want to put myself out there. Those of you who've read my Twitter might have already heard this, but like, I'm kind of anti that because I want the theatre to be a place where people can forget their real lives and engage with their brains in a kind of new and interesting and incredible new way. And I don't think we can do that while we feel unsafe. So I really don't want people to have to want to bring the theatre back non-socially distanced. I know that is going to be incredibly tricky for certain theatres to navigate. I know that the government need to step up a lot more than they're doing. But what I would say is there isn't just the old way or nothing. There is something else. And I don't want to be like, oh, look at us, we're doing something. But we are really trying with all of our hearts and with all of our might to see another way. And we are but small and we are but shoestring. And we are like chaining together things that we found around with a few things that we saved our literal pennies to buy to make this stream happen. This is not a big budget affair. While it might look like this is a nice hall, which it is a nice hall. The hall is nice. But so I've got two things to say. One, those of you who have resources and money to dream big for what a new way could be, a hybrid way, a digital way, a global way. Think about it, please, rather than just sounding off about how the fact that, oh, I'm bored of social distancing. Look, we're about to have a second wave if we don't care about each other a little more. And I think, so that's the first thing I want to say. The other thing I want to say is, like, anyone, anywhere who wants to talk about what theatre can be in this new world, talk to us. I've set up a company with Chris Chorney and Matt Powell, who are at the back there. It's called Theatrical.Solutions. This isn't just a plug. This is us stepping a millimeter into the world and saying, what if there's a different way? What if we can monetize content? What if we can make live theatre interesting, like the Old Vic are doing it, Romantics Anonymous and Wise Children doing it. There is a new thing, and we're so grateful, those of you who are here live, we're so grateful those of you who are watching after the fact, that this is happening. But I just want to say, there is a third way. We are but small, we are but inexperienced. This is our first time, but we're going to keep going, and I hope others join us, so thank you. So those of you who did watch Signal online during lockdown, I will say all of the concerts in their entirety are available on our YouTube channel and at alpmusicals.com. Every single song that's ever been performed at Signal since 2017 is on video on our YouTube channel. It's a mad amount of songs. It's 300 or so new songs. And those of you who watched will see that one of the things that we did in our attempts to experiment was that we performed a live duet where two people actually did sing together live. And you can see that, I think it's Signal Online 6 and Signal Online 7. Anyway, go look it up. What we're doing tonight is a little bit strange, and I just wanted to thank our next writer for trusting us to try it. It might not work, but guess what? We've got a real piano here if it doesn't. What we're going to do is we're going to send a piano track and a vocal from New York, and it is going to meet us here, where 3 live singers and our musician are going to play along with it. A transatlantic duet for a transatlantic show, a show about what happens when you get disconnected from the place you lived and get forced to live somewhere else. Keep your fingers crossed for us, keep your faith in us, but also, if it goes wrong, we're in a room, we can fix it, so be kind to us. But here to tell you about the song is the incredible Emily Rose Simons.
Hello, world. Hi. So when I said to Adam, "Can we do this?" I mean, him and Chris could have just told me to go gefilte myself. But the complete menches. Hello, JW3. So This show is about a woman who is living and breathing and thriving, and then her entire world falls apart and she can't get out of bed. Does that sound familiar to anyone? So this scene is, so she's in bed in her family home, and her brother is about to marry a girl called Rochel. Now, Mark and Rochel turn up at their family home, and they can hear Mark's mama and dad very loudly fighting about how much they dislike Rochel because she's very orthodox compared to them, and they're worried that she's gonna like rip Mark away from their middle ground Judaism and make him more Jewish. And you know the thing, like we know the thing. Internet knows the thing. So Rochel hears this and she runs straight into Amy's room because she wants to make friends with Amy. You should see the song that Tanya Truman sings about that in one of the signals. She wants to make that bond with Amy, so she runs up to Amy's room and is like, here's some magazines that you're in from the time that you were amazing. And then Mark comes and joins her in the bed, well, Amy's bedroom, but not like that way. It's like just where the scene happens. And she's like, oh my God, maybe we shouldn't do this. It's very intense. It's a very intense conversation with tears. Amy is still in the room in bed and not saying anything because that's where Amy's been for the last few weeks. Does that give you a roundup of what happens in the scene? Anyway, then this song happens with Amy still in the room, and it galvanizes her to send a text to her ex. There. Why, thank you. Where should I be? Should I be somewhere?
Nick? That'd be great. Right now?
You and me, cardboard boxes, colour samples. You and me, little quarrels, choosing a bed. You and me, and a smart TV, dozing off head on shoulder. Just you and me.
You and me, semi-detached English garden. You and me, walking home, canvas shopping bags. You and me, cups of tea on personalized coasters. Just you and me.
Troubles on the other side of our own front door.
Of course, what else would a mezuzah be for? You and me
in the kitchen.
I'll wash you dry.
Hey Victor, send.
You and me, bank holidays.
and the DIY.
The hell is this winky face?
You and me, Shabbos candles,
Eshed Chayil,
saying Kiddush.
Your baby mama,
Just you
send
and me.
Seriously, send.
all send, no send.
You're fucking psychotic, send. I hate you, send.
Smiley emoji.
Send.
It worked! Big up to Christian Chorney at the back and to Nick Ong on the screen. I'm just going to say it again. Nick was actually singing live in New York, and the piano was actually coming from New York. And why do we do that, you might ask? And it's because, why not? Like, why not try and figure out what we can do with technology in this weird time? If some people are going to be stuck in their rooms and some people aren't, or if we're all going to be stuck in our rooms, why not try and figure out what we can do? And I remember the first time I heard two people sing together, literally together, when I was in lockdown, and I just cried because I hadn't heard two voices together, and we just heard three and one over across, and like people, anyway. So thank you for being here for that. It's a gesture. It's a gesture on top of a beautiful song already, but a gesture for the future, as this whole evening is. A gesture for the future, both in the songs that we're premiering, the writers that we're talking about, and the way in which we're doing it. It's a small gesture, but it's a gesture for the future. You'll remember at the beginning, I told you that this is all really due to the incredible Deborah Vogt at JW3, who is originally from Vancouver. When we were putting together this lineup, she said, oh, I know an amazing writer who I know from back in Vancouver. In a kind of one of those turns of events, this writer, who now lives in Brooklyn, had also caught some of the online signals. We didn't know each other until this point, and had written to me saying, I'd love to do a signal at some point if we could find a way to that. A connection was made, and it is my great pleasure to send you now to Brooklyn to meet Landon Braverman. Thank you.
Hello. Okay, I believe I am live. This is crazy. Hi, everyone. Greetings from Brooklyn. Landon Braverman here. This is really an honor and very exciting to be a part of. This concert is a really interesting cross-section of so many parts of my life. I have to thank, first of all, Naomi Vogt at JW3, fellow Canadian, fellow Vancouverite, for inviting me to do this, and getting to work with Adam, whose work I've been watching throughout all of this, and it's really amazing now to be a part of it. And also that this is a Jewish event, very proudly identifiable as a Jew. And funny, because right before I came onto this, I was finishing my day job of teaching at a Hebrew Jewish day school in Manhattan online, teaching music for the next generation of Jewish children. So I have a song for you from a musical I'm working on called Captain Zook. I have written the score, and my wonderful lyricist, librettist partner, Anna Jastrzemski, has written the lyrics that you're going to hear for this song, and she sends her regards. She's unavailable to be with us today. This song is called Cosmic Love, and this is the closer for Act 1. The show, told you there was a lot of things crossing here. The show actually takes place in London in 1970, throughout the 70s, and it's an homage to David Bowie, Elton John, T-Rex, other figures from the glam rock era. It's a completely original fictional story we're creating about a guy named Zook and a guy named Jack that come together in Leeds. They form a band, which becomes the Electric Jukes. And near the end of Act 1, they have risen to fame. They are going on a huge European tour. They're getting ready for an American tour. And in this scene, they are at a party. A lot of things have come to a head. And for Jack, one of the two main members of the band, he sort of steps out of the party, outside of reality, into this song moment. And we learn that maybe fame isn't exactly what he was hoping for, and that he might be in love with Zook, his bandmate and best friend. Vision blurs with smoke and champagne. Raise a glass, say my name, but I can't hear what they say. Feel miles away. All of my dreams have fallen into place. Slow down and breathe. You can stop the chase. Surrounded by light, but it's all too bright. Is this all mine? Or am I just floating in space? Vision blurs with smoke and champagne. They raise a glass and they say my name. Oh, but I can't hear what they say. Feel I'm miles away. I'm looking at life through a window pane, asking myself, was this all in vain? But that can't be right. He's here by my side. Is that not love? Or am I just floating in space? Oh, those days and nights where together we climb, his voice and mine, how they'd intertwine, reaching for something divine. How to live inside this knowing. The hardest part is to keep going. My hand is shaking and no one's taking it. How I wish he would take it. Vision blurs with smoke and champagne. They raise a glass. They say my name, but I can't hear what they say. I feel like I am miles away. No, I can't deny how I feel inside. This feeling is pure. Now I know for sure. This is love. This is love. Or am I
I just floating in space? Am I just floating in space? Am I just floating in space? Am I just floating? Stay safe out there. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Landon. Landon in London. Sorry, it's that time of the evening. My first show that I ever directed professionally was Ordinary Days by Adam Guan, and I've always loved new musicals. There's something about hearing songs that are packed with story for the first time as an adult, with like an adult brain, with adult neurons and synapses, that just sort of just gives me a new feeling that I recommend those of you who are watching this without having seen any of my streams before to seek out. It's a different feeling to that very valid feeling from hearing One Day More again, or from hearing Defying Gravity again. Those give me feelings too, very good feelings, but it's just a different thing that I urge you, if you haven't sorted out before, well, you're seeking it out right now, but if you have friends who haven't sorted it out before, do, because it's amazing. So anyway, but then I realized I loved writers so much, and working with writers in other countries was a little sad in some ways, although I love Adam Guan and I'm glad to know him. But you couldn't just hang out. You couldn't just like walk over to the piano and say, oh, what about this? What about that? And that was when I started to realize I wanted to be in the room with writers who were writing their shows. That meant I had to find some writers who lived in the same country as me, which, when I was talking about this 5 to 10 years ago, wasn't a particularly common thing in the way it is today. We're experiencing a wave of new musical theatre, but there was actually a little bit of a dearth for about 30 years because certain massive musicals, which we love, we respect, but they took a lot of the oxygen and didn't return it. But I suddenly realized there were these writers around, and I suddenly realized we could work with them. And all of this is leading to say that the first UK musical, full production that I ever directed, is by this next composer. And again, it's just lovely, lovely, lovely to have him here. He's at the back, in the same room as, he's going to come up and tell us about his song, in the same room as us. And he has written a brand new song from a brand new show that he's going to tell us about. So, welcoming, on behalf of him and Rafe Smith, the incredible Joseph Finley.
Thank you, Adam, and thank you very much for organising this amazing event. It's so nice to be back in person. I just find it such an amazing experience, so thank you. This song you're going to hear tonight is from the musical A Rabbi of Many Principles, upping the Jewish content here, I think, a little, by myself and Rachel Smith. It's set in a somewhat fictionalised version of the British Jewish community. Our story is based around Rabbi Nathan Lukunowitz, a rabbi whose scholarship is impeccable, but whose people skills leave something to be desired. Through a surprising turn of events, Rabbi Nathan gets the role every rabbi dreams of, the position of Supreme Chairman Rabbi of the United Kingdom. Now, one of Rabbi Nathan's congregants is David, a lonely and introverted young man. After immense pressure from his mother, David goes to Israel on the Make Me a Mensch program, where he grows in confidence and gains a sense of himself. The song is a series of messages David sends during his trip to Rabbi Nathan's wife, Leora, one of the few people who has shown David kindness. Later on in our story, David's newfound sense of energy and self-love will have troubling consequences. I hope you enjoy it, and here is Jack Reitman to sing it.
I never know how high it's supposed to be.
Week 1. Hi, Leora. This is the view from my room. Since you're really astute, you'll notice it's not London, it's a desert. I'm in Israel on the Make Me a Mensch program. 6 weeks to go. Hashtag roughing it for the Jewish people. Wherever I go, there's a version of me. A version of me I'd prefer not to be. I'm a loser in the desert with nothing to do. It's a wonderful view, but I'm just passing through. Week 2, I spend most of my time on my own, walking in the desert, talking to bushes, the non-burning kind, in case you're wondering. I've been to a few lectures. I like the one by Herzl. He was a total oddball, like me. Ehud, the course leader, he says I can always go home if I'm not enjoying myself. He says I should try to talk to others. He says I should make friends. I try, but I'm not very good with people, or hikes, or obstacle courses. I'm just too quiet. Wherever I go, I'm cold and exposed. I'm outside the circle, too quiet, too closed. But maybe this desert needs a hermit or two, a wandering Jew who is just passing through. Week 3, you won't believe this, but they've been training us how to shoot a gun. I shot off 18 rounds. Ehud says I have a gift. Afterwards, some of the other guys wanted to speak to me, to be my friend. They asked me how I did it, how I made so many clean shots. I don't know how I did it, Laura. Maybe I do have a gift. I am just passing through, but I'm not on my own. Moses and Solomon, David and Saul, Isaiah, Elijah, and me. Week 4, Ehud says I'm the best shot he's ever seen. He says I'm an asset to the Jewish people. We had another lecture today on Herzl, on his dream. Ehud spoke about people like me, people like Herzl, who don't know who they really are until they come home. Wherever I go, I've pretended to be whatever most people wanted to see. But here in the Negev, my soul became true, and I've learned something too. We are all passing through. We are all passing through. Passing through history. Soldiers and prophets, poets and kings, Ehud and Herzl and me. The program is over, and I'm flying back. You won't recognize me. I've changed, Leora. Israel changed me. Our hope is not lost with this farewell embrace. Wherever we go, we belong to this place. We focus our minds on the things we must do. My people have come back to history. We are all passing through.
Yeah, that was really Jewish. And I loved it. It seems just a good... we haven't been in person for so long that I just realized the thing I forgot to tell you is that, like, a lot of these songs are world premieres, and a lot of them were like written in the last week or so. And that one was delivered to Jack Reitman on Tuesday. So yeah, he learned it and performed it like that after a day and a half. So another round of applause for... And just a round of applause to the actors and singers who give their time to new writing. It takes a type of bravery and a type of egolessness and a type of support. So thank you to actors, singers who give their time to new writing. We appreciate you so, so much. This Signal was conceived as a space for new musicals. More than that, it was conceived as a place where people could premiere songs where the paint was still wet. And more than that, as a place, so the name Signal comes from the term signal to noise ratio. And it was about, you know, when you've got static and you've got the thing you actually want and you try and turn the dial so that you get, it's a bit outdated, that reference actually, surrounded by, but you're trying to get more signal and less static. That's what this is. We want more signal and less static, which is more signal, less noise, more good musical theatre, less bad musical theatre. And also more musical theatre that challenges preconceptions of what musicals look like, sound like, or are about, but that is still, importantly, good. Because, man, bad musical theatre, wow. It's, I always say I agree with you. I agree with people who like say that they hate musicals because they haven't heard the right musicals yet. And to me, musical theatre is a bit like the violin. If it's played by a child, it is the worst thing ever. But if it's played by a virtuoso, it's pretty good. Well, you know, life-changing, some might say. So anyway, that's kind of it. And also, Sarah and Curtis, they saw that music for the first time like 2 hours ago. That is the Signal vibes that I've been missing. A friend of mine in New York called Mark was in the first Signal Online and then a few others. And yeah, he's a great friend and someone who has always wanted to like put in a concert one day, but never thought I could do so until suddenly location became irrelevant. After that, I wrote to Mark and I said, who else should I know that I can now offer a meager digital concert placement to, and he saved me a list, and on that list was this next writer. This next writer was part of, I think, Signal Online 4. I should have had a list. Anyway, they're all there. And then afterwards, she got in touch with me and said, actually, I'm working on something, and I wondered if you'd be free to talk about Judaism and anti-Semitism in the UK. And we were on Zoom for an hour or two talking about it. And it felt really cool to like meet a new person and be able to like talk about these issues and talk about, you know, what is going on in the world and with someone who I still haven't met in person. Anyway, this concert came up. Seemed natural that she should present a new song. I'm really thrilled she did. Taking you now live to New York to the amazing Zoe Sarnak.
Great. Hi, everybody. I think I'm live. You know, there's always the question, but I think I'm live, saying hi from New York City. Yes, it has been such a joy to be a part of, now this is going to be my second Signal concert. And I was, you know, thrilled when Adam mentioned that this one would feature Jewish writers, because obviously, you know, that's an incredibly meaningful part of my identity, so much so that I figured I would feature a song from a show that has a Jewish lead, and yeah, I guess I'll just tell you a little bit about the show. This is a show called Split, and it's a transport group, a theater in New York is developing and producing it, and the story is, I should say, co-written by the amazing Michelle Lowe and directed by Jack Cummings III, and starring Katie Thompson, who you're about to hear sing one of the songs. So just for a little context, set the scene, it's 1953, and this is the story of Karen, who is, we'll call her a retired physicist. You find out later why, but she's also a New York Jew and a mother. And she kidnaps her daughter, basically, and tries to get her to drive across the country. Unbeknownst to her daughter, Amy, she's going to enroll her in college. But the plan goes pretty badly, unravels, and both of them find themselves on a road trip that, you know, changed their lives forever. But among the things up in the air on this road trip, the state of Karen's marriage. And this song that you're about to hear is about a time when her marriage was young and beautiful and full of possibility, and when her husband went to war, went to fight in World War II, and she sent him letters, and you'll hear about that in the song. So the song is Karen's sort of more modern adult take on what those letters were when they were across the world from one another. And if I say any more, you know, I'll take away from the screen time of the amazing Katie Thompson. So I'm actually just going to pass it along at this point and say, enjoy. Katie's the most dreamy performer and human, and I'm so thrilled she's joining us today.
Each Friday I would write you 1,000 words, and sometimes I cried. A sour envelope, just like our wedding invitations assembled side by side. No, it was nothing like that. I could almost feel that our story only just began. More, a million letters, do you know what for? So I'd remember better what we'd known so well. That night we wrote to tell the world that I was yours and you were mine. When I was yours and you were mine. Dear Bruce, I hope you're happy. It's hard to picture your head without hair. Dear Bruce, I've tried to tell you. We're almost through the night with Daddy's not there. Though it feels like nothing's changing, but my heart's never changing. You count the letters 'cause it's all right there. More and more, a million letters, do you know what for? So I'd remember better and know just what to tell her. At night I'd know to tell her that we are his and he is ours. That I am yours and you are mine. And we have years and years of time, but time is nobody's fool, and we're all fools with time. Over time, you feel like a fool. You're losing years and years of time, all those years and years of letters. You'd think I'd learn to know better. Years and years and years lost time. More and more, a million letters. Do you know what for? So you remember better. More and more, a million letters. Do you know what for? So we'd remember better. Giving up is easy, we all do it well. Fighting on and on, trying to tell you that I'm still yours if you're still mine. I'm still yours if you're still mine.
Whoa! So, like, we have a thing at Signal. It's about writers. So it's always about celebrating writers, because how often have you seen a press release where the writer of the musical isn't even on there? How often have we become gradually torrented into a star culture where actually no one's really interested in the content anymore, but just the kind of the press for the content? Anyway, that's my opinion, and I'm not secret about it. I'm not keeping it under my hat. So we always put the writers, and we always put them in alphabetical orders. But that was Broadway's Katie Thompson. Like, give her a round of applause. Like, when we set up her sound, she told me that she hadn't done any of these because she was terrified of technology. But you did an amazing job, Katie, so thank you. And I don't know about you. I've said it before, and I just want to say it in front of a room of people too. There is something human and fragile and beautiful about a live performance at any time. We could have recorded a video, you could have seen light streaming through her window because it was a different time of day, and it wouldn't have meant the same to know that on the other side of the world, someone was giving that performance, and that is incredibly meaningful to me. And it gives me hope at a time where it's harder to be hopeful. I think it's worth the effort, but I just want to remind you again, the effort that goes into this. You might have noticed that during some of the performances you've heard up on that balcony in person, Chris Chorney connecting with the next person on a live stream and bringing them in. The amount of work this takes is more work than an in-person Signal and a Signal Online put together. And for what? Again, a gesture. So at the end of last year, we got to speed up because, we're taking too long, and it's probably a little my fault, but it's nice to talk to you all. Feel like I've been quiet for so long. So last October, a team of writers called Sheep Soup from Nottingham and I worked together, and we were lucky enough to be the first UK team to be picked to be part of CMTP at Sheridan College in Toronto, care of the amazing Michael Rubinov. I got there and I realized there was an entire world of Canadian musical theatre that was growing and bubbling over the last decade. And there were all of these writers, and been amazed to be able to befriend these writers and have them as part of our Signal Online family. Writers like Kevin Wong, Britta Johnson, and amazing writers. But one of the reasons for this kind of surge in Canada is because of a little show that you might have heard of called Come From Away. And what happened was, Come From Away was a popular hit, obviously, a hit that's gone across the world. The show I think we all want to see first when theatre comes back, so that we can all just cry together. I know I do. But one of the things that's so meaningful about Canada is that a massive hit musical lifted the other boats in that country. It lifted a scene, and a decade that passed on afterwards is in many ways because of the way that show PR'd and was generous and gave oxygen back to that community. And I'm very grateful to Michael Rubinov, who was the person who came up with the idea for this show and took it to these writers. And the whole legacy of Canadian musical theatre is grateful to him. And we're also so grateful, and possibly grateful, that live, over digital, joining us now are the writers of Come From Away to share with you a brand new song. Let me take you now to Toronto, and Irene Sankoff and David Hine.
Hello from Canada.
So excited to be here and be a part of this event. This is totally cool. This is the quickest I've gotten to London ever. This is amazing. Okay, we're gonna share a song from a show we started working on about 10 years ago, and then we had to put it aside while we focused on Come From Away. It's inspired by working with children on the autism spectrum. My nephew was diagnosed with autism, I guess, so I won't tell you how long ago, but I actually left theater for a while so that I could train to work with him. And ever since meeting those families, meeting the kids, I've wanted to write something about it. So this is the next show that David and I will be working on.
This is called Lighting Department.
Ed at the customer service desk looks up and knows who we are every time. Hello, Aiden, he says, we just got a new shipment. We're off to aisle 9. There are so many lights in the lighting department. There's nowhere on doesn't. And I think, well, it all could be worse. There's their motto above all the checkouts. You can do it. Home Depot can help. And I wonder which one of us wants this the most. Standing staring at shelves, understanding ourselves.
Cool white, soft white, clear white, bright white, daylight, warm white, dimmable.
Cool white, soft white, clear white, bright white, daylight, warm white, natural. There are so many lights in the lighting department. I never knew that before. There's no shadows at all when the world's incandescent. It's darker and dimmer and sadder when we leave the store. Thanks, everyone. I hope you're having a beautiful night. Wish we were right there with you. Big virtual hugs.
Sankoff and Hein, they seem so nice. They really were nice. Oh my goodness. People always say Canadians are nice. Those are some fun Zoom calls. Yeah. So, 2 more songs to go. 1 online, 1 in person to take us home. This next writer, similarly, I went to New York 2 years ago, and I wrote to a friend there, and I said, who should I know? Who's talented? And he went, this kid just graduated from college, and you've got to meet him. He's the best. And I just met him, I think on his first days in New York, having graduated, and we had like a drink in a kind of empty apartment because there was no furniture there yet. And I feel very lucky to have met him before the last few years, where he has rightly grown in stature and renown. He actually, one of his first stage roles as a child actor was that he was in Caroline or Change. So I was pretty sure that he was Jewish. And I said to him, would you like to do a song at this event? And he jumped at the chance. He's a triple Signal Online performer. I think he's the highest streamed in performer. So it gives me great pleasure that he's joining us for a 4th time. Introducing you now, live in Brooklyn, to Julian Hornick.
Hello from Brooklyn. I am so psyched to be a part of this evening, and so jealous that I'm not there. I would turn my computer around to show everyone, but it would break the whole system. But I'm like staring right at a Tate tote bag that's just been hanging on my door for like a year, taunting me. But I can't wait to be back in London. But anyways, this is a song that I wrote for a commission for the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus. And the commission was to write an oratorio about the contemporary queer youth experience. And so I wrote this song about a real-life drag prodigy named Jamie Steinman, good little Jewish boy, who goes by the drag name Shayna Maydell, which is roughly Yiddish for pretty girl. And so I wrote this song from the perspective of his doting Jewish mother. And that's, I think, all you need to know. And before I play it, just thank you again to Adam for everything you've done over all of these crazy, crazy months, and for having me. And so this is the origin of Shayna Maydell.
By the time he's 3, little Jamie's free to be Shayna Maydell. Shirts down the line, but little Jamie's mine, and I could already tell. Skating around the room, singing into a broom, pirouettes in the air, making skirts from a tallis. And why would I stall this when it's already there? Oh, Jamie, you're destined for the shining lights of Crystal City, Foggy Bottom, DuPont, Columbia Heights. So, pretty girl, dashing boy, you go ahead and set your sights as high as Shayna Maydell. Oh, wow. By 14 years old, Jamie does as he's told, studies up before bed. John Waters and Fiddler, RuPaul and Bette Midler swim around in his head. Sure, math is essential, but not consequential like Baldwin and Cher. Teens are a mystery, but give them a history to show them they're there. Oh, Jamie, I may be a little too invested, but can you blame me for being super interested when other mothers deliver orange slices to basketball games and I help you pick out devices to insinuate a feminine frame? And that's how Jamie became Shayna Maydell. Oh, wow. And I won't pretend that you'll lean on me forever. And I comprehend this is not a mother-son endeavor. Well, at least not in perpetuity. So for now, I'll treasure this time together. Just you and me and Shayna Maydell. Now 16 and driving, Jamie is thriving and finding his way. 5'11" in heels, got his shticks and his spiels, he has shoes verite. And well, as for me, I'm happy to be just one in the crowd. Laughing and screaming, I'll be there beaming as long as his mother's allowed. Oh, Jamie, you keep me on my tippy toes. You couldn't pay me to turn it down, just call me Mama Rose. Oh, pretty girl, a dashing boy, is it too on the nose to say you make me proud? No, you make me quell. And that's how Jamie became Shayna Maydell. That's how Jamie became Shayna Maydell. Oh, wow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Julian. Those of you who've watched these concerts before know I have a habit of saying something so that I'm forced to make it true. So next time I've decided watching the screen all night, watching Curtis and Sarah sitting there. But what we have to do next time is get orchestrations for some of the streamed ones and have a live band playing along here and send them back out again. So we're going to do more of that next time. Anyone who gives us a building to do this next time, maybe JW3, other partners, feel free to get in touch. We got the technology. All right, it's the end. Thank you to JW3 for not kicking us out. Thank you, government, for not making us hard close arts venues at 10 p.m. It's a small mercy in a difficult time. Through the awful of this time, I've always been talking about how new musical theatre needs to be disruptive. I've always been talking about how we need more disruption and more new artists and more things that don't sound the way we expect. And this awful time has done nothing if not disrupt us. And it's been awful, but every so often I've caught a glimpse of utopia, like a little glimpse of what a world would be like where we could talk to anyone, anytime, that no one is inaccessible, that there is no such thing as hierarchy, there is no such thing, that there is community. And what kept me alive during lockdown was the community of writers across the world, a distributive network community of people who cared about one another and were there for one another and for hear one another. And I understand that, like, I stand at these events and I talk, just because I feel an enthusiasm and a need to communicate that. But this is a community that has networked itself, where if I were to like walk out of this career, the network is done. Like they are doing the work. It is them that these events are for. It is that altar that I worship. So again, to writers, to the community, to that utopia of people who can be creative and who can give us this art at a time that we need it more than ever. So a huge round of applause for them. We want to do more of these. We want to do more hybrid streams. We'd love to do another some here. We'd love to do some at other venues. If you've watched this, or if you know someone who might be interested in talking to us about hybrid streams, both for ALP concerts of musical theatre and other things, do drop us a line. We are nothing more than crazy, crazy ideas and trying to make them happen, because it's the one bit of adrenaline I think we've got left right now. So if anyone wants something crazy to happen using digital media and theatre, we're going to try. So that's that. And the company we've set up is called Theatrical.Solutions. There's a contact form on there, but I'm pretty easy to find on Twitter at Adam Lenson and all the other things. So it's time for me to thank everybody. A huge, huge thank you to JW3, to Deborah Vogt for suggesting this idea and for following through on this idea, and for, you know, Signal is a thing that like has its own mechanisms and long structured ways of working, and to find a way of like bringing us into the building and including us and collaborating with us in such a meaningful and dexterous and collaborative and beautiful way is so thanks to her. So a round of applause on her own for Deborah Vogt. A round of applause to everyone at JW3, to Raymond, to Michaela, to Rachel, to Roy up on the desk, to Daniel for supervising. A huge thank you to our two real band. Today there are two. We wanted to start off easy. We hadn't done this in a while. We didn't know how much the workload would be. Turns out doing a real concert and a digital concert at the same time is a lot of workload. But we are proud to have had these incredible two, Sarah Burrell and Curtis Volp. The last thanks of the night just has to go to the intrepid pair back there, to Chris Chorney and Matt Powell. Don't clap yet, I've got nice things to say about them. What we've done is insane. I don't say it in a braggy way, it is insane. The fact that it's been as slick as this is insane. The fact that we never start small because we want to test what's possible, and we set out a crazy series of wants for how this would work, how it would function for both people in the room and people out of the room, and for writers. We set ourselves a challenge that every single song would be entirely live. I don't know if that's happened yet. So there has been no video content tonight whatsoever. It has all been live. Thank goodness for JW3's internet holding out. So thank you. It takes mad people, but it also takes geniuses, it takes friends, it takes colleagues, and it takes people who are the best. And that is Christian Chorney and Matt Powell. Give them a huge round of applause. So I said this was about musical theatre, and I said it was about technology, and I said it was about the future. So it gives me great pleasure to finish on a song that incorporates all three. This is from a show that premiered earlier this year at Vault Festival. It was, in fact, one of the last real things that we could do in the real world together, and I was proud to work on that show. It's a show about a Jewish woman who changes her name because she's not sure, she doesn't necessarily want to engage with the life that she had before as she embarks on a new life. And that life is, she takes the newest technology of the day, a bicycle, and she decides to ride around the world. And the reason that that is so liberating is it's the first time women in that era had a mode of transport that was theirs, that they didn't have to be driven, they didn't need anybody else for. It was a new type of technology that brought freedom, and it brought them a new future. Here to sing our final song and to plug in an extra guitar to take our band up to 3. It gives me great pleasure to close out the night with the incredible Freya Smith and Jack Williams.
Hello, thank you very much. I'm Jack Williams. Freya is currently in Norwich, but watching the stream. As Adam said, this is from a show called Ride, which debuted at Vault Festival in March, which feels like 200 years ago. So it follows Annie Londonderry, born Annie Kaczowski, who was a Latvian Jew who, with her family, moved to Boston in the USA at the age of 5. She went through a lot of tragedy in her life, so lost both her parents in her teens, lost her younger brother in her teens, was married at 18, 3 kids by 24, and decided to ride around the world on a bicycle. The way we have structured the piece is Annie is in a pitch meeting after her record-breaking ride to the New York World. One of the great things about Annie is she is a serial liar. She's an exaggerator, an embellisher, and just fibbing 24/7. So which makes her a great character to write for, and a great character to write songs for. I think that's mostly it. Adam has very kindly agreed to, in addition to producing a live concert, an online concert, he's playing the Bicycle Bell for us today. And on vocals, we have the amazing Amy Parker, who played Annie in our Vault run. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm on. Hiya. This is exciting. Everybody look casual. It's just arrived on the scene. A new miraculous, spectacular, pedal-powered cycle machine. So why not take one for a spin? It's the latest craze. Well, you could get from Massachusetts to Ohio in a matter of days. So let the getaway begin, don't be deterred. Its construction's far from random, with every part working in tandem. You'll be riding like a pro. No need for chaperones, it's you who sets the pace. Let's liven up the human race. On your marks, get ready, grab your bikes and go. Just ride, leave the past behind you. See what lies beyond the bend and ride. Forget what once defined you and get ready for your new best friend. Hear the gentleman whine. This titanium monstrosity will surely lead to moral decline. Every broad will catch the bug and start to roam.
Hey, you know a woman should be gearing up for clearing up the mess at home. But all they've done is pull the rug. This is absurd. I hear the bicycle's vibrations cause unspeakable sensations and set their private parts aglow. It gets so hard resisting urges that take flight with all those ankles in plain sight. Don't worry, fellas, I'll be gone before you know. Just ride, leave the past behind you. Let the critics condescend and write their attitude won't bind you. So get ready for your new best friend, and maybe you will find that change of pace, that shift in gear will help you realize who you want to be. A different state of mind. Who wouldn't take a chance to disappear, to disregard your worries and be free? To leave the past behind you. Take a road that has no end and ride to where your life won't find you. And get ready for you. Just get ready for you. Because I'm ready for my new best friend.
Thank you so much for joining us. See What Lies Beyond the Bend is a great message for us all right now. There is a corner, we just can't quite see around it. But thank you for being here tonight. It means the world. It means an impossible amount. You'll never understand what it means to me that you've tuned in and that you've been here and that these writers have given their time and that these incredible actors have given their time. What I'd ask, if you have any money and you're sitting at home, alpmusicals.com/donate would help us to give these artists something. And if you've had a nice time, please spread the message, spread the signal far and wide. We started this because when I knocked on doors, people didn't open it to me, asking them why we didn't care a little bit more about musical theatre in this country. We had commercial musical theatre and we had subsidised theatres that couldn't stand musicals. And I kept knocking on doors and no one answered. So I said, why not build a bonfire? Build a bonfire centred around artists and centred around performers and centred around musicians that could create new musical theatre that was new and artist-driven and had integrity and had meaning and had presence and disrupted our norms of what songs and stories could be about. It felt important, it felt necessary. It feels important and necessary now more than ever. So thank you for coming to this bonfire. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us at this first hybrid JW3 signal. We hope it won't be too long till we see you again. Thank you so much.